Well, some of this, the groundwork was laid, past couple of years. Since 9/11, virtually, with the Homeland Security and the UASI group that involves Boston as a hub city and the 9 surrounding communities that we're a part of, us in Chelsea, Winthrop, Everett, so forth. We've had annual drills, readiness drills on the tactical side, the K-9 side, and it's not just law enforcement, public safety with respect to urban search and rescue, explosive ordnance disposal. It runs the whole gamut of public safety. So a lot of the groundwork has been laid. A lot of the networking has been done over the past few years. Okay. When the bombing, when it happened that Monday afternoon, I called up to Chief Superintendent Linsky in Boston. And what do you need? And he said he needs bomb dogs and detectives. Well, I called my head of detectives, and he rounded up some troops, and they got into Boylston Street immediately. And I was a little upset with my dog handler. I couldn't get a hold of him. Come to find out, he had just ran the marathon. In fact,
so he was already there.
He's in the footage when the bomb blew up.
Wow.
He had just crossed the finish line.
Wow.
When he finally called me back, I said, "Where are you?"
Yeah.
"I just ran the marathon, Chief."
Right.
"Are you ready to go to work?" He says, "I'm ready." And I asked him, was it real or was it like a manhole? He goes, "No, it was real." Okay. Good. And that's the last I saw him for a week. But he went to work with the whole UASI group. There's a lot of ATF dogs involved within the UASI group. They partnered up with some bomb guys, and they went out and started clearing the crime scene and beyond.
Now, it took from it was that Monday when the event happened, and the second suspect was apprehended. Was that Thursday, Friday?
That was Friday.
It was
Friday
near the end of the week.
Right.
So kind of give me a timeline between that Monday. I'm not talking about necessarily every day, but between that Monday and that Friday, tactically, how did you and your folks work with that consortium of law enforcement?
Well, we have a regional tactical team that we work with Everett, and at some point that Monday afternoon, Boston put out a request for additional tactical units. So we rounded up our team, and I went with them, and we met up with some Boston folks in the area of the Common. One of the superintendents that was there posted us at in the area of Government Center to just maintain a foot patrol in the area of Government Center, City Hall, Faneuil Hall, the federal buildings, that area. Just because it's a tourist area, they wanted to maintain a stronger presence. So our work started there. We worked well into the night, into the next day, the next morning, in that area, just maintaining a patrol, routine patrols on foot, but we were in full tactical gear. Later in the week, Boston again put out a request for additional manpower during the presidential visit. So we rounded up some troops.
Yes, right.
That's right. And that was very, very impressive. I got the chance, and again, you don't get to see this when you're doing it, but I went over there with the troops. And we're all wearing our yellow high visibility vests, and we see some of the footage from later in the day from the helicopter. The amount of people that were there is absolutely, and just to be a part of that. When the president comes to visit and be a part of that, words can't describe just the feeling you get to participate in an event like that. So we were there for that. And when the event happened in Watertown, the request went out over the radio. And now I was home, but the request went out over the radio through Baypern that tactical units were needed in Watertown. And I had a couple of my SWAT officers were working that night. Their lieutenant dispatched them right immediately to Watertown with their gear and called me at home. We deployed the rest of the team, met up in Watertown, and we probably mustered there sometime between 3 and 4 o'clock at the scene of the bombing, and we set out from there. So that was more or less our area of operations for the balance of the day.
So it was 3 or 4 o'clock that afternoon?
That morning.
That morning? Oh, 3 a.m., okay.
Right, immediately after the bombing.
And now when was suspect number 2 captured?
Probably about 8 o'clock that night.
That night, okay, so you were there that
whole day.
That whole day. Now, I've seen some pictures where I believe it was yourself or you and your folks were actually right on top of the boat. You were right there. Am I recalling this correctly?
Yeah, that's my Iwo Jima picture. And it has the same fallacies as the Iwo Jima picture. If anybody believes that those 6 men raising the flag conquered that island, then you can believe that I'm the only guy that made that arrest. No, there was thousands. There was thousands involved.
Right.
As luck would have it, as we're clearing, you were working our area, we hit about 6 o'clock. The troops have been on their feet. My guys have been on their feet since 4 o'clock. We got a 14-day going, full gear, getting a little tired. And we had a little huddle and said, listen, fellas, we got one more street to clear. We'll stand down, see what else happens. Maybe we'll get our heads down and pick it up again, you know, when the call comes back up. Shortly after that conversation, somebody spotted the second suspect in the boat. And the call went out over the radio, and as luck would have it, we were working in conjunction with the Boston SWAT team at that time, and the call was, they were requested to go to the scene, talking to the Boston team leader, and he says, we're going. He said, we're coming with you. So let's go. So we caravan down to the scene, Franklin Street, where the suspect was hiding in the boat. And just as luck would have it, the Boston team got there first, and we were behind them. They went to one side of the house, we went to the other. And we're in the driveway and looking at the boat, probably about 30, 40 feet away. So now it's become a bit of a barricade, you know, situation. Some of my troops got into the house and they were looking down on the boat, looking for observation. And you see the footage where the armored car come around with the ram and opened up the shrink wrap, and they engaged him in some of the conversation. The helicopter had some thermal imagery showing what we weren't privy to any of that. So we were told it, but we didn't see it.
Oh, okay.
We were hearing that there's a heat signature, and we're also hearing he may be trying to blow the boat up. We got some intelligence during the day that they may have a suicide vest. So there's a lot going through our minds as this happened. At some point, they got him standing up. And I think they were, whoever was running the operation in the TOC, I wasn't privy to this, but whoever was running that's Tactical Operations Center, the TOC, they made a determination that, I think they were afraid he was going to pass out from blood loss, and then we would have to pull him out of the boat. So while they had him standing up, I think one of the FBI agents came around to the driveway where we were at and said we needed to get an arrest team going. So I know there was myself, some Malden guys, some of my guys, some Ever guys, and some T guys. Just happened to be in proximity, and we've all worked together in the past, and it's, you know, it's all basically the same dance steps, so to speak. So we approached the boat and we pulled him down from the boat, and as luck would have it, when he landed on the ground, we got him on the ground, and he's right in front of me. So my first thought was that we're looking for a suicide vest. So pulled his shirt up and there's no vest. Rolled over, a couple of the guys had cuffed him up, and my next thought was if there's anybody, there's what would be a third suspect, is he had any collaborators with him on the boat. Here we are, we all have our backs to him, and he has us dead to rights. So let me jump up and make sure there's nobody on the boat.
Right.
So I climbed the ladder, jumped in the boat, did a quick search. There was nobody else in there. I didn't see any other, you know, obviously nobody else, but I didn't see any other explosive device, which was another concern.
Yeah.
And, you know, just because I didn't see it doesn't mean it wasn't there, so I got off the boat and told the EOD guys that were coming up, some of the ATF folks, I just let them know, there's nobody else on there, do what you got to do. And then he was handcuffed and being treated by, I think, the ATF medics. And our job was done there, so we collected up our gear and went out looking for our van.
I'm sure that was hard to find with all of the vehicles that was out there.
It was very different, but it was, you know, it was an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah. You know, I got to tell you, just as someone who was at home watching what you guys were doing on TV, first and foremost, I applaud you and your guys and all of law enforcement for what you guys did. The true heroes, you know, when you talk about heroes, but it was so heartening to see all of the folks, all of the spectators that were there watching.
Yeah, you don't see that
as you guys were exiting and moving about, you know, that folks really appreciated what you came to do and got the job done, you know, and were giving you the due respect, you know, and applause, you know, and so from the Sheriff's Department of Suffolk County, you know, we'd like to say thank you.
It's our pleasure.
I mean, it was just extraordinary, and I remember thinking that, you know, if this guy is not found on this Friday, now we've got to go through the weekend. And, you know, in the city, I think they call it stay in place or stand in place, where, you know, the governor had put out the order, you know, to stay where you're at. You know, and if we had to go through that weekend into the next week without finding that guy, it was just would have wreaked so much havoc, you know, on all of the communities that was touched by this. And you guys, you know, really took care of us.
You know, just to be a part of such a collaborative effort of law enforcement. We were on the boat. I was part of the arrest team. You know, but there was literally thousands of people that put us there. You know, it's as luck would have it, we happened to be in the right place at the right time. But there was thousands and thousands of people, from the guys on the helicopter, whom I know personally, that were taking those footage, you know, the thermal imagery, to some of my folks that were bringing us batteries, the people in Watertown that were giving us water because they could see that we're dragging at this point. They're giving us water, offering us fruit and food.
Right.
And, you know, there was no complaints. They wanted us there. They were glad to have us there, and we were glad to be able to help them.
Yeah.
It just, to be a part of such a collaborative effort, it was just absolutely incredible. It was an incredible experience. I'm not the hero here either. There's a lot of, a wise man once said, you know, I'm not a hero, but I serve with a bunch of them.
There you go. You know, I mean, when you talk about law enforcement,
yes.
and that, you know, and from time to time, law enforcement will take a knock. You know, or
usually more often than not, yeah.
That's right. You know, but this, when you talk about training, when you talk about a collaborative effort, you know, amongst law enforcement and with community, this is how it manifests itself. This is where it shows. You know, right. So even if it's once and you clearly don't want to see a repetition of that, even if for that one time, it worked.
And that one time, and we made mistakes.
Yeah.
And we learned.
Right.
We'll correct them.
That's right.
We'll be ready for it again. I hope to God it never happens.
Right, right.
But if it does, we'll be ready. And I hope we're all part of that same team again.
Yeah, well, sir, look, we're out of time. I really want to thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Talking to us about Revere and talking to us about this particular, you know, event. And once again, many kudos to the thousands that you talk about.
Thank you.
Okay? All right, folks, look,
we're
out of time. We're out of here. We'll be back again next week. Until then, you take care of yourself. Peace.